So we're live on the air, and my name is Adam Want, professor and technologist from John Jay College of Criminal Justice, which is part of the City University of New York. I spent a significant amount of time the past 2 years doing a lot with mobile devices, both in academia and mobile security. So it's my pleasure to live unbox on the air both the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. We're going to do a live unboxing of them right here, right now, and we're also recording this in HD so that we could do an edited version which will be uploaded to my YouTube channel. So whether you're watching this live right now on the air and you have some questions and you can write in, or whether you would like to just respond to the YouTube channel, just let us know. So we'll start off right now with the iPhone 6. This should be a gold 64 gigabyte. We'll start off with the iPhone 6. It's a gold 64 gigabyte iPhone 6 that arrived at my apartment this morning. It came via FedEx. It was guaranteed delivery by 8 p.m. It arrived at about noon. I'm going to use my handy unboxing knife, and we're just going to kind of cut into it. Let's see what's inside. So in the box, we have a little manual that says start here. And in the manual, we basically have an activation guide and some paperwork. We have some padding. And then the only other thing in the box, so we don't need the box anymore, is the sealed iPhone 6 64 gigabyte in gold. And we're going to open this up in a couple of minutes. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to set it up, and we're going to get some initial impressions. However, we also have an iPhone 6 Plus that I waited online for 8 hours this morning at the Apple Store. I was about 30 people away when they told us they were out of the 6 Pluses. So I went around the street. I was at the Apple Store Grand Central Terminal. I went around the street to the Verizon store. I think it was about Lexington and 44, and they had one iPhone 6 Plus in 16 gigabytes left, which is gold. Now, I'm not sure if I am going to enjoy the 16 gigabyte iPhone 6 Plus. I'll have to see how it works over time. The only problem is that they insisted on opening it up. They had to break the seal. It's one of their rules, and they turned it on. So we'll have to deal with that. So this box has already been opened. However, the iPhone 6 itself is brand new, sealed in the box. So let's get this started. Let's open this up, and we'll take a look at them right now. If you're on the live broadcast, you will notice that I'll be repeating a couple of things because when we edit this all together, we are going to take snapshots and kind of combine it so that it makes a coherent video. So you might hear me say things over and over again. How's this looking in your camera, David? We're good?
Yeah.
Today is Friday, September 19th, 2014, and that means this is iPhone 6 day. We're here in the afternoon with an iPhone 6 and an iPhone 6 Plus. The iPhone 6 came from FedEx early this afternoon at about 12 o'clock. The iPhone 6 Plus, I waited online at the Apple Store for 8 hours. They ran out just before I got it, but I was able to go over to the Verizon store on, I think, Lexington and 44th, and they had one left, iPhone 6 Plus in 16 gigabytes. We are going to unbox both of these devices. We're going to set them up. We're going to get some initial impressions all right now. Take another cut for an ad. If you're watching live, I promise it's the last time I'm going to do this. From here on, you'll see the good stuff. This is Adam Scott Want, professor and technologist from John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Today is Friday, September 19th. Come and join us for an unboxing of both the iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus. Say it one more time. This is Adam Scott Want, professor and technologist from John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Today is Friday, September 19th. Come on in and join us for an unboxing of both the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus right now. All right, so let's show them some of these devices. Let's see what we got here. David, what do you think the best way is to we'll start with the 6 Plus. What do you think the best way to is to think the black desk is probably better?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get this white piece of paper out of the way. We already got some viewers. There we go.
All right, so you want me to...
Yeah, let's see if we could adjust both of these so that we can get a good view. I think that the live camera might fall off.
Do you want to be in this?
I'm more worried about my hands. I don't need myself to be in it at all. If you can zoom in as much as possible on the items, that's probably the best thing. And then maybe we could dynamically go from there. Maybe a little bit back. Just because I don't want it to be cut off at all. And if we can fix the live camera, it's just a little off.
Oh, we want it to be down, right?
Oh, no, it's actually at a good level right now. Yeah, I'm good on the live camera. How are you on the HD? We're good. We're definitely good.
Oh, I think let's maybe move that red thing out of the way. And get that out of there.
Anything else? We're good?
Good.
Again, this is Adam Want, professor and technologist from John Jay College of Criminal Justice, and we are here with the iPhone 6 Plus. Many of us have been waiting for a larger iPhone for quite some time now, and it's finally here. It's finally arrived. We're going to unbox it. We're going to set it up. We're going to take a look at some of the specs, get some initial impressions. So, unfortunately, I picked this up directly from the Verizon store today. I waited at the Apple store for 8 hours, and they sold out just before I got it. But I went to the Verizon store who sold me one. The only one they had in stock was a gold 16 gigabyte, and they had to unseal it. It's part of their Verizon deal. But this is actually the first time I'm opening it. You can see iPhone on the side. It doesn't have any numbers. It doesn't say 6 on it at all. It doesn't say much of anything. And here's what we want to see, the iPhone itself. I could show you in the back that it does say 16 gigabytes, covering up some of the serial numbers for a reason. But here we are, the iPhone 6 Plus in gold. We'll put it aside for a second. Comes with a tab pullout. Comes with some literature. And in the literature, we're basically getting a basic user guide. I don't know if you can see this. Some info and the traditional Apple stickers. I know they're hard to see online, but this is what comes in the literature guide. Not too useful. Underneath, we have a standard lightning cable. I think it's about 3 feet, but I can confirm that later on in the video. Comes with a standard iPhone charging adapter. I actually find it interesting that this is the smaller charging adapter, even though it's the 6 Plus. I actually expected a larger charging adapter, kind of like the iPhone uses. I'm sorry, the iPad uses. I expected a larger charging adapter like the iPad uses, but this is the same charger that the iPhone 5 uses, so that's good to know. Also, we have a set of standard, I guess these are called Apple earbuds. Is that what we call them these days? Or ear pods. I don't know. Also comes with a set of Apple ear pods. That's what they're called these days. And I'm not going to open these up because I usually give them out to students who need them. So I'm just going to keep them sealed. These seem to be the same Apple ear pods that have come in the iPhone 5 and the previous ones. When I open the iPhone 6 in a minute, this is the 6 Plus, but when I open the iPhone 6, we'll open it up. So I'm just going to put the ear pods back in the box with the lightning cable and the charging adapter. And we're going to focus on what we really need to focus on here.
Oh. Because everything's white. It's like...
Here we are with the iPhone 6 Plus, and I'll show you how this compares to, for example, the iPhone 5S. We'll show you a full spectrum of all the iDevices in a second, so you can see each and every one. But you could tell immediately how much larger this is than the iPhone 5S that I've been carrying around for quite some time. It comes with plastic, of course, on the top and bottom. Single sheet, peels right off. This is the gold model, so it's got the white face, gold trim, gold back with the white trim on the back. Not bad. Let's see. We move the charging button over from the top to the side. Sorry. We move the power button from the top to the side. So when I hit the power button, let's see what happens. We get a hello. You able to see that on your camera?
No.
Maybe we could lower the big light.
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
Yeah. Give us a second. We're just getting the correct light feed for our HD cam. Let me get this back on again. There we go. Still having trouble seeing it?
Yeah. I mean, what I could do is I could just like kind of...
Wait. I just turned it off.
Yeah, I'll just do that. I've zoomed in on it. So now it's easier.
You can see it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be worth turning the lights off?
No, like check it out.
Oh, that's perfect. All right.
So I'll just zoom in
Yeah.
quick like this,
Yeah.
and then we'll zoom back out.
So if you can't see it on the live feed, some of the words, you'll definitely be able to see it on the HD feed. But we're just going to try to set it up really quick, see if we could get it set up. So it starts off with the hello screen. Now picking English in the United States. Now it wants me to pick a Wi-Fi network. However, I can't get on any of the Wi-Fi networks, and here at John Jay College, it's not worth it. So I'm going to use the cellular connection to activate it. It's telling me right now that it is taking a couple of seconds to activate. I am, for now, going to enable location services, which does have some security risks. I am going to set it up as a new iPhone. It's telling me I have no network connection. Let's try continue. I do not want to use an Apple ID right now. I am going to agree to the terms and services. I will set up the Touch ID later just so we can get it started. I'm going to choose a simple password that I'll wipe out later just for the sake of this video. 1234. Horrible password, and it tells me that this is a horrible password, but I'm just going to use it anyway. 1234, just so we can get a look at the phone. Ask it to use Siri. I always do not send data. I'm not a fan of automatically sending diagnostics. I like my privacy. Now it's asking me to choose a display, a zoom display, and I haven't seen this before. What it's asking me to do is choose how you would like to use view your iPhone. Zoomed shows larger text and colors. Zoom shows larger text and controls. Standard fits more on the screen. Also tells us we could change it at any time. Because we're doing this on the camera, I'm just going to use zoomed from now. Gives us a chance to look at zoomed or standard. We can see there's a little bit of a difference, but I'll leave it on zoomed. Go to next. Welcome to iPhone. Get started. The phone is rebooting. Still hasn't shown me any service bars, however, but hopefully when the phone does reboot, I will be able to get a Verizon signal in here. It is searching. It should find the Verizon LTE network. While it's searching, I might have to reset the phone. This has happened to me before. But while it's searching, what's important to remember about this phone is that it is about 6.22 inches high. And the width is about just over 3 inches. The depth of the phone is extremely thin at 0.28 inches. It's even thinner than the iPhone 5S. The iPhone 5S has a depth of 0.3, so it's even thinner than the iPhone 5S. It is heavier than the iPhone 5S, however. It weighs 6 ounces, 6.07 ounces to be exact. So out of all the iPhones that are currently being sold, this is the largest, this is the heaviest, but it's not the thickest. The thickest is still the 5S and the 5. Now I'm going to take a look at this. It's still not giving me service. I am going to try to reset it. I should make sure the SIM card's in there properly, or it would tell me there was no SIM card if there wasn't. I had this problem setting up a previous phone. So what I'm going to do just for a second is I'm going to turn it off, turn it back on, and see what we have. The iOS 8 option to turn it off works just the same. Now I'm going to turn it back on, and let's see if we get service. If we don't get service, we'll explore a couple of things, and then we'll move on to the iPhone 6. Now it's telling me waiting for activation. This may take some time. There is a possibility I might have to throw this on a Wi-Fi network, although I should not have to. While we're waiting for it to activate, let's talk a little bit more about the phone. The display diagonally is 5.5 inches, which is the largest iPhone ever been made. And that 5.5 inches has an LED backlight with IPS technology. What IPS technology basically means, it says that the iPhone is now activated. So good, we're going in the right direction. It's been activated. My temporary password 1234. You can see it says the Verizon network. Right now it's on 1X. It should be on LTE soon. So I'm glad we're going in the right direction here. What IPS technology means is it's a technology that allows you to have a really good view of the phone from different angles. This is good if you want to share a movie with somebody, but it's definitely not good if you want to secure your private information. I usually put four-way privacy screen protectors on my iPhone because I don't want people to be able to see what's going on my iPhone. And I will show you an example of that in a little while. It's also important to point out that it actually has a 1920 by 1080 pixel resolution. So it's got basically a 1080p screen. It's the first iPhone to have that resolution. And it has a reachability feature so that you could actually bring the top down, and we'll learn how that works in a little bit. The processor for this and for both iPhone 6s is the new A8 with the M8 coprocessor. What's exciting is that the iSight cameras, the cameras in this iPhone 6 Plus are the best cameras Apple's ever given us. And what we're talking about is this is the first iPhone camera that has, let me resave that. Show you the back, not the front while I do that. So anyway, the iPhone 6 Plus has the best camera ever put in an iPhone by far. It even has a better camera than the 6. It is a new 8 megapixel iSight camera with a 1.5 micropixel camera, which is very impressive. It should have really good low light coverage. It has regular autofocus. The aperture, the smallest aperture it can go to is 2.2. It has optical image stabilization, and that's what makes this camera special. This camera doesn't have just digital stabilization, it has optical image stabilization. What that actually means is in that camera, as you're moving the phone, as you're taking a video or picture, it's moving and adjusting the lens in very minute amounts. That will help you take stiller videos while you're standing still, but it will also help you take stiller videos while you're in a car or while you're moving. So if you're moving, taking a video or picture of something else that is moving, the picture will be significantly steadier than any other phone Apple has ever made. It also has a hybrid IR filter, which keeps out infrared light and glare, and it has a whole bunch of other features that are not really worth going over, such as automatic face detection. It has exposure control. We're not going to go over all the features, but just so you know, it still has a True Tone flash, which is a multicolored flash. But one of the biggest reasons to get the iPhone 6 Plus over the iPhone 6, other than the size, is the optical image stabilization in this camera. If you are an Instagrammer, if you are a YouTuber, if you are somebody who likes the camera more than the phone, if you always are taking pictures, the iPhone 6 Plus is the way to go. Now, there might need to be some software updates to make it work perfectly, and we'll do some testing. Very often, new features work pretty well out of the box, but it might need, some enhancements. But if you're wondering what one of the biggest differences between the two phones, it is absolutely the optical image stabilization in that camera. Now, we also have a forward-facing FaceTime camera, and that's important to realize too. It's a 1.2 megapixel camera that is also at f/22. Now, this camera is able to record video at 720p. The back camera is able to do 1080p. But this should be really nice for us to be able to do FaceTime and Skype, and it has something special called burst mode, which will be fun for kids to play around with when they're doing selfies. So what they really did was they upgraded the forward-facing camera, the FaceTime camera, and they gave it many more features to allow people to have fun taking selfies with them. The one thing I should mention about the back too is the video recording on this camera does something that we haven't been able to do before. Not only does it do 1080p at both 30 frames per minute and 60 frames per minute, but it does slow motion video at 120 frames per second and 240 frames per second. 240 frames per second is incredible for a camera. And I'll definitely take some video, we'll post it, we'll see what 240 frames per second really means compared to 120 frames per second. This also has the ability to do time-lapse video. So the next time Fleet Week comes into town, my apartment, I can see the entire Hudson River. I'm going to set up this camera over the Hudson River and do some time-lapse photography so we could really see how the time-lapse photography works. But the cameras in this phone have been significantly upgraded since previous cameras and phones. It also has Touch ID, and I'll program the Touch ID in a little bit. The Touch ID allows us to access the phone with a fingerprint. There were a lot of questions, and there are a lot of questions as to the security of Touch ID. However, as a mobile phone security expert, my recommendation is to use Touch ID rather than a password. If you're using a password, people could look over your shoulder, they could stand next to you, they could see it. I am berated. That's not the right word, is it?
Berated.
I'm berated. I am berated with legal cases and students who have their spouses and girlfriends and ex-girlfriends find out their password, go through their phone. It causes domestic violence situations. So I am a big fan of the Touch ID. Even though the Touch ID could be fooled, it's going to be much harder to get around the Touch ID compared to the password system in the phone. Now, there's something else in this phone that is also really cool, and I've been waiting for this in an iPhone for the first time, and it is on the top. There is an NFC antenna. You can't see it. Near field communications antenna on the top of the phone, and what that's allowing us to do right now is use a... I will review Apple Pay in a later video. However, if Apple Pay works the way I think it does, and if we're as lucky as I think we will, the wallets will no longer have to come out of our pocket. We'll be paying for things right through the phone. And Apple Pay uses a really unique method of not having to exchange your actual credit card numbers with vendors. So I'm really looking forward to see how Apple Pay works, how secure it is, what the issues are with it, because I have been waiting for an Apple Pay type solution for years now. One of the things they did is they locked down the NFC antenna. So for now, you can't use the phone NFC antenna for other types of NFC functions, like NFC tags, for example. They did, however, in iOS 8, open up the Touch ID so that other applications could use Touch ID. One of the things I'm really looking forward to is making reservations in OpenTable, going to the restaurant, and paying my bill directly on the phone with the Touch ID sensor without the waiter or waitress ever having to see my credit card. Living in New York, I go to restaurants all the time. I have had every one of my credit cards compromised in the last 6 months, and I've had every one of my credit cards compromised more than once in the last 2 years. I am really looking forward to seeing how the Apple Pay really helps protect my credit card and my identity. So let's go back to this now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you know, it's set up like a normal iPhone. There's not much of a difference from the front. I'm looking at the applications, and most of the applications, other than the health application, seems to be standard. I don't think there's anything else new here, although there is something called extras. Let's see what's in there. Tips, that's new. We already had the voice memo. So we have a tip application. That's new. Now, one thing I'm curious about, let's go to Settings, General, Usage. The operating system on this phone is much larger than the operating system on previous phones. And I'm curious how much open space we have. And this tells me, even though this is a 16 gigabyte phone out of the box, I only have 11 gigabytes of space for storage. And you know something? I just don't think that's enough for the standard person. I don't know if I'm going to be okay with a 16 gigabyte phone going forward. My other phone, the iPhone 6 I have, is a 64 gigabyte phone, but I wasn't able to get a hold of a 64 or a 128 gigabyte iPhone 6 Plus right now. So this is what I was able to get a hold of, and it's what I wanted to unbox and show you. On the side here, on the, I guess this would be the left side of the phone, we have the switch, which turns the ringer on and off. We have the volume up and down switches. And again, the power button was moved to the side, not on the top. And we did that. Apple did that. I didn't do that. So you're able to do more of a one-handed operation so that you don't always have to reach to the top of the phone. And this actually feels pretty good in my hand. I was a little worried this would be too large in my hand, and I don't think it is. I think that the 6 Plus might be the right size for me. But I'll be playing around with it over the next couple of days, at least the next week or two, and trying to decide whether or not I want to go with the iPhone 6 or the iPhone 6 Plus on a day-to-day basis. See if any questions came in. Somebody asked on the Twitter account, if I'm holding the phone, could I reach all 4 corners of the phone with my hand? And the answer is absolutely not. I can't do that with the size of my hand. Perhaps somebody with a larger hand could do it, but I can't. But there should be a feature. I just don't know how it works yet. I'm not really sure how it works yet. I'll have to learn how it works. But there should be a feature which actually brings down the top of the screen, which will allow us to be able to operate it with one hand. But I'll learn how that works, and I'll show you more in a different video. This is just a general unboxing and getting to know video. So
Double tap the button.
Double tap the button. Videographer. Oh no.
Something with the
that was a good choice though. If I double tap the button, let's try holding the button down. Nope, that brings up Siri. Let's try triple tapping the button.
Maybe one tap.
Maybe one tap?
No.
2 taps? No. Maybe Morse code? Nah. We'll figure out how to do it, and I will get some directions and put them in the description of the YouTube video. And I'm sure there are lots of people watching this right now yelling at me. It's probably the simplest thing in the world. What we could do is we can go to Extra, we can go to Tips, do more with the iPhone. Nah, that's boring. Let's get out of there. We'll figure it out in a different video so we're not wasting your time right now. And that is the iPhone 6 Plus. The screen is absolutely beautiful. It is a bright screen. When I lift up from the bottom menu, I still have airplane mode, Wi-Fi mode, Bluetooth mode. I have the do not disturb, and I have the rotation lock. We have we can even make it brighter than it was. Volume, flashlight. What's that? Alarm clock. Phone. I'm sorry. Calculator and camera. So this in iOS 8 has stayed almost exactly the same. When I pull down the notification center, however, it's more colorful. There is nothing for missed notifications, although that might not be there yet because I might not have any. But we basically have a today view and a notification view. I will do another video on iOS 8 itself, and we will definitely be able to learn more about it. me try tapping this. Now that just turns it off. All right, so we're going to skip trying to figure out how to bring it down. But let me tell you, my initial impressions are that the phone feels good in my hand. I'm going to put it into landscape mode for a second because I think one of the best benefits of this phone. Now this is supposed to turn into landscape mode, and it's not. I was under the impression from one of the Apple keynotes that we were able to use the phone always in landscape mode, including from the main menu, but it's not switching. However, that might be something under the settings that just needs to be changed in the future, and we'll take a look at that later. So I'm going to put this phone aside now, and let's unbox the iPhone 6. All right. I think, again, my name is Adam Want, professor and technologist from John Jay College of Criminal Justice, and we're here to unbox the iPhone 6. This is an iPhone 6 Gold 64 gigabyte. I'm just going to cover up some of the information on the bottom so you can see that it is the 64 gigabyte phone. It does say iPhone on the side, nothing on the bottom. And I think it's actually quite interesting how the front of the iPhone box has almost no detail on it whatsoever. It's actually quite surprising to me. If you look, for example, at the box of the iPhone 4, it was much more colorful. If you look at the box, for example, from the iPhone 5, it was much more colorful. But there's very much so a clean, muted look for the iPhone 6. And the iPhone 6 Plus. That's the way Apple rolls. So let's get the unboxing knife. We're going to break this seal for the first time. This came in the mail, so it did come sealed. If you purchased it from Verizon, they made you unseal it right there. And here it is, the iPhone 6. Maybe. Got to get a good grip on it. All right. So here we are, opening it up for the first time, the iPhone 6. Very tight box. Nothing in the cover. As with all Apple products, comes right on the top. Take it right off. We'll put it on the side. I expect to see almost the exact same things. Literature, almost the exact same literature. iPhone info and stickers. And we have the exact same accessories. Charging cable, Lightning to USB, the smaller iPhone charging adapter, and the earbuds. Again, I decided I'm not going to open these earbuds. I usually just give them away to students who need them. I'm not a fan of these earbuds. I have a really nice pair of Bose earbuds that I use, so I'm just not going to open these. I'm just going to keep these closed and give them away to one of my students who needs them. Chances are right now there's one of my students watching live who will be texting me or asking me for them in no time whatsoever, and my videographer is kind of looking at them too. So I don't think they're going to last that long. And that's it. That's all that's in the box. This also comes covered in a single sheet of plastic. We can take that off. This has not been turned on yet. This will be the first time I'm turning this phone on. And you know something? I could immediately feel the difference in my hand between the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. This is so much more comfortable to hold in my hand. It's larger than the iPhone 5 for sure. Larger than the iPhone 5S. Definitely larger than the iPhone 4. We'll do a comparison in a second. But if I have to choose, which I will have to choose, between the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus, I am still not sure yet which phone I'm going to wind up using on a day-to-day basis. Can't keep them both. Power button over here on the side. It's been removed from the top. SIM cards already installed. On this side of the phone, these buttons remain the same. Volume up and down and a mute. On the back, it just says, see if we can get you to see that, just says iPhone. And again, it's the gold edition, which has the white facing front. If I had a choice, I would have gotten the space gray editions. However, I'm just going to put a 3M carbon fiber skin on these anyway that come from X Gear Live, which I can show you. I put them on all of my phones. You can see it on my iPhone 5S right now with a 4-way privacy screen. So since I put the carbon fiber skins on the phone anyway, I really don't care what color the phone is, to be honest. Let's turn it on. Let's see if it boots up. Held it down for about a second. We got the Apple logo. This is the first time this is booting up. It's taking a little bit of time. And English, United States. I don't know how much as you can see. I'm going to ask it to set up. Interesting. I'm looking for the option to set up via cellular connection. It's right here on the bottom. It says use cellular connection because I'm not going to connect it to the Wi-Fi at my office. And now it's telling me it's going to take a couple minutes to set up. Try again using cellular. I really don't want to do this over Wi-Fi. And now it's saying it's going to take a minute to activate. While it's taking a minute to activate, let's go over some of the specs of the phone. Now, this is smaller than the 6 Plus. It has a height of 5.44 inches and a width of 2.64 inches and a depth of 0.27 inches. Between the iPhone 5, the iPhone 5S, the iPhone 6, and the iPhone 6 Plus, this is the thinnest iPhone that's ever been created at 6.9 millimeters. It also weighs 4.55 ounces, which is actually heavier than the iPhone 5S. So this is heavier than the iPhone 5S, but lighter than the 6 Plus. I'm going to enable location services, set up as a new iPhone. I'm going to skip signing in with my Apple ID for now. Skip that step. Why doesn't it let me skip it? Oh, it looks like the phone froze. It's actually not letting me do much of anything right now. There we go. Let me go back. I'll go to agree again. Good. Now it's asking me to set up the Touch ID, and I'm not going to do that right now. I will do it later because I want to be able to pass this phone around for other people to look at, and if I have to use my fingerprint to unlock it every time, it's not going to be helpful. So I'm going to set up a Touch ID later. Continue. I am going to add a simple password. And I'm going to do a simple password just because I'm going to be allowing people to play with the phone for a while. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is not a good password. It tells me, but I'm just going to use it anyway temporarily. 1, 2, 3, 4. Use Siri. I do not send diagnostics back. Now it's telling me that it has zoom display as well. I find it interesting that both the 6 and 6 Plus have zoom display. I am going to use the zoom display. Why not? It lets you toggle back and forth to see what it's like. Zoomed or standard. Standard puts more on the screen. Zoom lets you see more of it. For example, you can see what it kind of looks like in text messages and emails as well. But I'm going to leave the zoom display on and hit next. And welcome to the iPhone. Time to get started. iPhone is restarting. So while the iPhone is restarting, let's go over some more specs. The diagonal is 4.7 inches. The iPhone 5S was 4, so it's an extra 0.7 inches. It also uses IPS technology, which means that you could see it from many different angles. Great for when you're sharing a movie with a friend. Bad for when somebody's looking at your password over your shoulder. It has a 1334 by 750 pixel resolution at 326 ppi. It is not 1080 HD like the larger version. And what's interesting is that it also has the same processor as the 6 Plus, which is the A8, with an M8 Motion coprocessor. Now, where there is a big difference in the phone is in the back. This does have the same new 8 megapixel iSight camera with 1.5 micropixels. However, the difference here, I'm sorry, it's not micropixels, it's uber pixels, I think. But the difference here is that this does not have optical image stabilization. The smaller phone, the 6, only has digital image stabilization. It's the optical image stabilization on the larger phone which makes the camera so much more valuable. It also has an f2.2 aperture. It also has a sensor. It also has the True Tone flash, a 5-element lens, hybrid IR filter, and I mean, other than that, it's very, very similar to the iPhone 5S, meaning that it has a sapphire crystal camera display. It is important to point out that this is, I think, the first iPhone where the camera actually protrudes from the back of the phone. I don't know how well you could see it, but the camera itself is not flush with the back of the phone, something that I always admired about the iPhones. Now, it might only come out a millimeter or so, probably, but it does stick out a little bit. It allows for panorama photography up to 43 megapixels. It allows for photo geotagging and burst mode, all in photography mode. In video mode, this does record 1080p at 30 or 60 frames per second. It does do True Tone flash. It has a multi-tone flash in there. Now, just like the larger version, it also does slow motion video in 120 frame per second or 220. I'm sorry. It does do slow motion video in either 120 frames per second or 240 frames per second. It also does time-lapse video, does video stabilization, and it has a whole host of other features that are just not worth going over right now. Check it out on the Apple website if you want to learn more about the rear-facing camera. The forward-facing camera is almost identical, if not identical, to the 6 Plus. It has a 1.2 megapixel camera, which records at 1280 x 960 at f2.2. This camera lets in a little more light than the iPhone 5 or 5S. So if you're in a dark room and you're trying to FaceTime, or if you're trying to take selfies, this camera does let in a little more light. It has better exposure control. It does have HDR for both photos and videos, and that's new. The old phones only had HDR for photos and not video, but this also has this burst mode for selfies, so that you could take a whole bunch of selfies of yourself in burst mode and be able to publish them almost like in a video format, which is pretty cool. Again, it does have Touch ID, and the one thing I will say again about Touch ID is, as a mobile phone security expert, I fully recommend the average person use Touch ID over a password. We should always be using a password on our smartphones. It keeps the data more secure, it keeps it encrypted, but using Touch ID will prevent people from looking over your shoulder and getting your password. You don't have to worry about your girlfriend or your wife checking your phone while you're in the shower. You don't have to bring it into the shower with you. You don't have to hide your information better if you have anything to hide, or maybe you have proprietary business information on the phone. Even though it is possible to trick the Touch ID using a variety of methods that are available online, it's still very difficult to do. And as a mobile security expert, I fully recommend using Touch ID over just a standard password. Now, like its bigger model, it does have an NFC antenna on top. I should mention before I say that the Touch ID sensor in iOS 8 has been unlocked, and it's been unlocked in a way that allows us to use Touch ID for other apps. So if you want to pay for a restaurant reservation with OpenTable and you want to actually pay your bill, you could do it right through the Touch ID sensor. If you want to authenticate yourself into Dropbox or another program, you can do it right with a Touch ID sensor. And that's going to be really exciting to see how third-party app vendors utilize Touch ID in their products. Touch ID is far more secure than the average person thinks. Now, it also has an NFC antenna up on top, and the NFC antenna, NFC is Near Field Communications, it's actually locked down in iOS 8. It can only be used right now for one thing, which is Apple Pay. And I'm really looking forward to using Apple Pay. I have had my credit card stolen so many times, compromised so many times. It's not often. I get fraud alerts almost every few months. And it's because I live in New York City. I go from restaurant to restaurant. I'm giving people my credit cards all the time. So I'm really looking forward to see how Apple Pay works. I recently read that Best Buy won't be accepting Apple Pay at first. I will not be shopping at Best Buy. Sorry, Best Buy, you're out of the picture. I want to shop at vendors that will allow me to securely use Apple Pay to pay for my purchases. And I will do another video on Apple Pay because they really did an incredible method of being able to secure your credit card numbers without having to transmit them to the vendors. And that's what I don't want. I don't want my waiters, I don't want the clerks, I don't want staff having my credit card numbers. And they did an incredible job. Hopefully it works the way they say it works, and only time will tell. But I plan on using Apple Pay as much as possible. I understand that it's going to require some significant equipment upgrades for point-of-sale machines, but I think it's absolutely worth it. So the only other thing to say in this quick video is let's put these two phones side by side. So we can get a better idea side by side. Are these lined? I want to line them up right. Are we lined up good here?
Yeah. Just
Here's the iPhone 6 Plus. Here's the iPhone 6. Here's the iPhone 5S. I'll line them all up on the bottom. Here's the iPhone 5. Here's the iPhone 4. The iPhone 3. And the original one and only iPhone 1. Now that's a lot. Let me push these over a little bit. iPhone 6 Plus, definitely the largest. From what I could tell here, just by looking at it quickly, the iPhone 6 is definitely the thinnest. The iPhone 3 is the thickest. But I still think that the most beautiful phone ever made was the iPhone 4S. Both from a handheld point of view, dimensions point of view. I love the back glass. I still say the iPhone 4S was the most beautiful iPhone ever made. But obviously at this point it's out of date. Let me get these taken out. For the next few weeks, I will be spending a significant amount of time comparing and contrasting the iPhone 6, the iPhone 6 Plus. I will look at it from an academic point of view. How could students use these devices? I will look at it from a mobile security point of view. Is Apple Pay secure? Is the Touch ID less secure? And please check back for future on both of these products. All right, please zoom back out to me. So to unbox the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. I'm going to be doing a lot of work with them over the next few weeks to see what are really the advantages of the additional size. Is it too big for my hand? Is it too big for most people? Is the extra battery life worth it? We'll be doing a series of photography using the cameras on the back where we shoot side by side, both still and moving, to see how the optical image stabilization works. And we will report this all back here on my YouTube channel within the next few weeks. My name is Adam Scott Want, professor and technologist from John Jay College of Criminal Justice, which is part of the City University of New York. And this has been an initial iPhone 6 and 6 Plus unboxing, setup, review, and initial impressions. If you have any questions, please leave them via Twitter feed at prof_want. Thanks for watching, and for those that join live, thanks for joining live too. We had a lot of live viewers.
Nice.
Not a lot of they didn't stay too long, but we had a lot of people pop in and out. That was good.